Hello everybody, welcome. This is Pink Sheep and Friends Friday. My name is Evelyn of Pink Sheep Design, and today we are actually going to be bringing someone back who came on for actually the very first episode of the year. So before we get started, couple of announcements. I did want to share with you guys, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I've been wearing these headbands non-stop. These are Hey Nikoko headbands. If you guys have not heard of them, I got another one too. These are my newest ones. So I had to share, look how cute it is. And I think she just had another drop last night that had like the evil eye. If you guys have seen the evil eye design, I know there's a lot of crochet stuff out there now with that, but super stretchy headbands. So if you're on the lookout for a good headband, I wear mine with braids. I can't wear a bun much anymore. It gives me a headache no matter what I do, but with the braids, really great to have that. So check her out. You can use my code PinkSheep10, save 10% off if you want to check out some of her headbands, because she just released some new ones. So check her out. I also wanted to let you guys know that the Ranger vest, so this is the super simple chunky vest. This just released yesterday, so I was going to show you guys what that looks like if you guys haven't seen it yet. You can check out my feed and you can see some of them, but this is what it looks like, and you can choose how far up the back you want to sew it. And this one I made with 5 strands of a mix of 3 and 4 weight yarn, so just some fun like pastel type colors. But this one is now available, and it is extra small all the way up to 5X. So just fun little simple layer. You can make it literally in at least maybe 2 afternoons. So like a weekend, you could make one in a weekend. And it's also really great. It's a really great use for t-shirt yarn. So if you have t-shirt yarn and you're not sure what to do with it, that's a great option because you don't have to have a whole lot. I think you need 100 yards for the extra small, up to I think 300 yards for the 4X/5X. Tracy, thank you. Yeah, so redid the hair. Not 100% sure how I feel about it. I didn't realize that I grabbed it's like UV reactive hair dye, so it's like neon. I mean, that's the... And because it's neon, it didn't cover some of the darker blonde. So you guys can see how it's a little darker here and here. But the areas that are freshly bleached, like up on my roots, it really took to it. And it's super bright. I think I'm going to have to go back over it with a little bit of a darker pink just so the coverage is better. But I'm back pink. Yay! But thank you, Tracy. And I wanted to make sure. I think that was my... So those were the only announcements that I had. And we do still have plenty of our newest black hole crochet hooks in the Etsy shop if you wanted to snag some, especially in the hybrids. We were trying to really stock up on the hybrid sizes. So we have tapered as well as Susan Bates options. The Great Des Badass color. Thank you. I appreciate it. It does match this, like behind me. Blend in with my surroundings. Okay, so I'm super excited that Madison of Stellar Threads by Madison is going to be joining me today, and she has already sent a request to join, so we're going to go ahead and bring her. Big sip of coffee. Also, I hope everyone saw the DIY hook challenge finale. Woohoo! Hello!
Hi, can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay, perfect.
And
Hi, how are you?
I had to turn you up too. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Here, I'm like, let me turn myself up. Okay, I'm chilling.
That's what I realized. I think it's like the in-call volume that it uses when it's doing a live, which is really weird.
Yeah.
So I definitely had to. It says, is there some orange or peach mixed in? And if you're talking about my hair, no, just the headband. There's no orange or pink mixed in. It's just the dirty blonde didn't cover all the way. So I don't know. I like to try new dyes, and I feel like I need to start doing a YouTube video for each one to be like, here's what I did, here's what the results are, so people can see.
Totally.
Because
How long have you been dyeing your hair? Fun colors.
So the very, very first time that I had it bleached, I did it professionally, which was really expensive. I don't really recommend it unless you just have money to burn to go. to go. But it was one of those situations where my husband was like, "You've never done it. You really want to do it. Just go get it done, you know." Um, and so I had it bleached and dyed it pink, and I think that was, oh man, I don't even like maybe 2018, either 17 or
Okay.
18. And I told myself that I was going to let it grow all the way back out before I did anything else to it, just to try to like make it healthy. And I did, because at
Oh,
that
nice.
point it was into like I'd gotten a new job and then the pandemic hit. So it was like,
Mm.
okay, I'll just, let it keep growing out, growing out. Moved to Alabama, got it bleached again all over. Not as great of an experience, I guess. I feel like my hair got a little more damaged that second time around. Um, and it wasn't until, oh, man, a couple of months ago that my husband was like, I bet you I could just do it at home.
Oh
So,
my gosh, I love that he's into it, that
yeah.
he helps.
So we're learning. We're learning. I think the first time we didn't leave it on long enough. We didn't get a good enough coverage. So I waited another 6 weeks. We tried it again. And that's what now you can see like the roots look really good. Like
Is
everything got really,
is
yeah,
your hair like the same color as mine or a little lighter?
a little bit lighter,
Okay,
but not by too
because
much.
interesting. Because I tried to dye my hair.
Uh-huh.
Emphasis on try. I bleached it myself
Uh,
in 20. That must have been 2017,
uh-huh.
and I just like it totally fried my hair. I wanted to go
Yeah.
silver, which is like the
Yeah.
hardest color
Yep.
possible to get,
Hmm.
and it didn't even like lift all the color. I shampooed with purple shampoo probably like 15 times, and it just would not change. So I
Yeah.
quickly had to dye it purple, and which actually turned out to be blue. It was a whole thing. And then I shaved my head because I was like, it's dead. I can't deal with this.
I've been fairly lucky. I've found some shampoo that helps. I mean, it's definitely damaged. It's going to be
Yeah.
damaged no matter what you do, even if you go professionally. Like it's going to damage your hair. My hair didn't feel that fried ever until the second time I had it done professionally, and that's why I was like, might as well do it at home then,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's an experience though. If you can get through that, bleaching your hair on your own, you can get through anything.
And part of me was like, I wish that I had done this in college. Like the people that like messed around in college and had a friend do it, and then you learn all of the things not to do then, instead of waiting until you're in your 30s.
Dude, I'm not kidding you. That was my exact train of thought.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? My hair's damaged. If I'm going to shave it, I'm 21. Do it now. People will be like, yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Exactly, exactly. And I think I had dyed mine like black in college, but you're not bleaching it. You know what I mean? So
A
it
little
didn't
different.
feel, yeah, it was a little different. But well, what have you been up to
I know.
so lately?
Long time. We haven't talked
Yes, six
in a
months.
while.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I have been taking sort of a step back from primarily making content and just focused on, I'd say, like finding my own style, the way that I like to design things. So just been experimenting with a lot of different fibers and designs and silhouettes and garments. And I've been getting a lot of crochet books. If I'm posting about anything, it's probably like one of the crochet books that I have, because
Yeah.
I just realized that my library has a ton of them and they've been an amazing resource. So,
And anyone who's watching right now, I would love for you guys, if you have a favorite crochet book, throw it up in the comments. I would love to see what you guys are, if you have like a resource that's like a go-to, or if you have something new that you purchased, if you even buy crochet books, like maybe that's not like I don't remember the last time I bought one. So I would love to know if the people listening, like if that's a thing for you, if you buy magazines, if you buy crochet books, and let us know what you're reading. The top you're wearing, is that your design or is that something
yeah,
new from a book?
this is my design, yeah, and I made it with this amazing like recycled silk yarn from Darn Good Yarn. They're amazing. Definitely
Yeah.
check them out if you haven't. Um, I've been slowly working on a pattern slash
So not
tutorial
out
for this one.
yet.
Not out
Okay.
yet. No, not yet. Still, I just like don't want to rush myself into.
Mhm.
I feel like I got into a routine of like making stuff just to do it like for content, not because I really like loved and cared about what I was working
Yeah.
on. So I'm trying to reframe my relationship with crochet and designing a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congrats on your pattern release. I know you just had one come out. I heard you talking about
Thanks.
it yesterday.
Yeah, yeah, I have to say I agree 100% with that feeling of needing to kind of reprioritize, move things around, focus on what you're enjoying. I know this past year for me, um, a lot of my focus was on I'm going to make at least three of the same item because for me it was like I would make one item as a pattern release and I would release it and I'd move on. And then you just get burnt out really easily if you're constantly trying to like I need a new pattern every month,
It's impossible
which
to
I
keep
still
up with.
and I'll still try to do that sometimes, but I had to get out of this headspace of like everything I make has to be new. Um, And so
Totally.
I've started trying to make the same pattern, but using different yarn combinations. So then
Yeah.
I can also show people, because not everybody likes super bulky yarn. And I guess I'm kind of cheating because it's still like holding multiple strands together to like equal super bulky yarn. But at least they can see it like, here's what this design looks like in t-shirt yarn versus like this one that's like 5 strands of 3 and 4 weight, you know?
Yeah.
And then I don't feel as like pressured that I'm having to make something new and get up and take pictures of it all the way through the process. I can just sit down and enjoy the project because it's already released, and I'm just getting to showcase it with a different style or, a different
Yeah.
color combination so I can wear a different outfit with it.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that I don't know if a lot of other designers already do that, but I definitely think it's a nice way to continue to push your old patterns. Like you don't
Yeah.
want to forget about them,
No, totally. That's something I've been trying to be a lot better about because it's like, okay, I made this thing. And the great thing about patterns is that you can keep selling them over and over again, And so, yeah, it doesn't really make any sense to like make it once and then just forget about it and use like the same set of photos. Because
Mm-hmm.
also, I've noticed with myself, at least when I'm looking for patterns, like I like to see them with different color combinations and different settings. Like, show me what I could do with this pattern and make it my
Mm-hmm.
own. I've also noticed on Etsy too, a lot of pattern listing photos, they'll be the same pattern, but one listing will be in one color, and that'll be like the front cover photo, and then another listing will be the same pattern but a different color. So it's like somebody likes the blue version, they'll buy that one. Somebody likes the pink version, they'll buy that
You
one.
know, I have thought about that. I have thought about like, okay, and I think I might have that for one pattern in my Etsy shop right now where I have 2 separate listings, and it's because I wanted one of the cover photos is pictures of me, the other cover photo is pictures of my testers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm always worried that like, what if someone buys the same pattern twice? I mean, mine are pretty obvious because it has like the name of the
Mm-hmm.
pattern on the cover photo. But I always was kind of like, what if they buy it twice and then contact me and are like, I didn't realize I already had this one,
Yeah. No,
But
I
it's a
know
good
what you mean.
idea.
I just tell myself like if that does happen, I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've tried it, like experimented with it a couple times, and I've never had anybody buy the same one twice. Luckily, maybe that's just luck, but
Do you feel like it's made a difference?
um, slightly. Honestly, not as much as I wanted it to. But I
Hmm.
keep thinking of Make and Do Crew on Etsy, if you're
Hmm.
familiar.
I
She,
haven't looked at her Etsy shop, but does she do
yeah,
that?
huge. Yeah, that was actually what gave me the idea. I was like, wait a second, this is so smart. Like, why haven't I tried this yet? But I've been moving slightly away from Etsy. I don't know. How do you feel about Etsy? Because you sell a lot on there.
Yes, Etsy is my primary
Okay.
platform.
Okay.
It's really my only platform besides Bonfire. So
Bonfire.
all my
Yeah.
apparel is Bonfire. And then I'm on Redbubble, but like I don't sell patterns on Ravelry. Everything's on Etsy, and it started out as just it's easy. It's all there. I'm not dealing with multiple W-2s coming from like all these different
So
places.
real.
Um, and then what I realized quickly once we took this full time, the biggest thing about the platforms that we use, which is again Bonfire, Redbubble, and Etsy, are the only three, if I'm remembering correctly, are the only three platforms we use, and it's because they handle sales tax. So if I were to open my own shop, I would have to go through the headache of trying to figure out how to ensure that I'm collecting and remitting the right sales tax. And that's a little, I don't really want to do that right now. So,
I totally feel that. I
yep.
think I'm almost positive I should know this, but I think on Shopify you can automatically select that, like add sales tax to all your orders.
And,
So
but then you have to remit it. They're not going to do it for you. So like you're collecting it, but then you've got all this money that you've collected as sales tax and you have to remit that to the different states. So that's where
my tax lady did not tell me that this year.
and some of them and some of them may. I think that's the big thing is making sure whoever you're working with, like talk to them, you know, because that's, I know, for instance, I talked to Love Stitches All a little bit about this because she has her own website and she says that the tax professional that she works with, you know, I don't know if she pays her extra or what she has to do, but she was like, I have someone to ensure that's being handled, because that was a big question when she moved away from Etsy as well, because she completely moved from Etsy to a Shopify store. You know, and I think that's been, and I'm sure there's people that don't, like, again, I am not the tax police. Like, I'm just always worried. I'm like, I don't want the IRS or whoever state's knocking on my door,
No,
you know?
I totally feel that. You know what I learned about Etsy though recently that I didn't know?
What?
Did you know that every time you sell an item, you have to pay the 20 cents to relist it? I didn't realize. It feels like it's so sneaky. Like they just snuck it in there, and it's if you go and look, it's obvious. But I'm like, they don't say, like, I didn't get that up front. So
it's pretty much 9.5% to 10% of every sale on average, like, because it's the 6.5% that they take. And they also take it out of shipping, which that's another reason. I had someone ask me about shipping costs once, and I was like, yeah, you guys are gonna pay a little more than like post office rates because Etsy takes the 6.5% out of that as well. Which, and a little backstory on that, if you guys don't know, the reason that they do that is because people were charging like $1 for the item and then charging like $25-30 for shipping because Etsy wasn't taking a fee out of shipping. So people were playing the game, you know, so that they could get more of their money. Yes, so Etsy was like, haha, you know.
That's so funny.
So yes, you've got the 6.5%, and then you've got the 20 cents for the item. You've got, I think it's 3.5%, which is the processing fee for the you know, if they use a credit card, which you're going to get on Shopify too. Yeah. You know, you'll get the processing fee, and like the 20-cent process, like 3.5 plus 20 cents or 25 cents, which I don't know. I don't know why. So I think with Etsy, a lot of people who sell like really, really low priced items. So like if you sell patterns and you're only selling your patterns for like $1, $2, $3, you're going to get hit the hardest because that 20 cents for the listing and the 25 cents for the credit card processing fee is a lot higher out of $1 than it is out of, you know, $6, $7, $10 pattern. So you just have to keep it in mind, you know, when you're pricing.
I think it's a good argument for like being more intentional about what designs you choose to release and like put your time and energy into, because you know they're gonna take so much. It's like, is it worth it putting out this very simple pattern? Maybe it took you like a day or two to write and format, and you're only gonna sell it for like $2. Like, maybe.
And I think that's where you look into, for anyone, and I know you talked about this, we're going to talk about your newsletter too, but I know one of your focuses, one of your newsletters that you've released was talking about business, hobby to business. And I think that's one thing is as your business starts to grow, whether that's a side business or if you want to go full time, it doesn't matter. Like I've done all of these things on the side as well. That's when you look into like YouTube and website revenue. So like ad revenue. So does it make more sense for me to put this on my blog for free so that I can continue to get ad revenue from people viewing my blog? Or ad revenue from people watching my YouTube videos versus, and you can do both. Again, like that way,
a lot of people do both.
Pattern and you put it on Etsy for $2. Maybe you'll only make $1 or 75 cents, but that's probably going to be more than what you make in ad revenue starting out.
Yeah, that's real. How long have you been full time with this?
We went full time right before we moved, so I think this is our full second year that we're going into now because
Awesome.
COVID hit, went remote with my full-time job, and then they wanted me to come back in the office before I was ready. And my husband had already left his like 9 to 5 job. He had started a drone company in Georgia. And so he
Cool.
was doing like land surveys, which was really cool because we had this one guy that got in touch with him, and like you hook up with one good person, and this person bought and sold land. He's like, he lived in California and was buying land in Georgia. So he would get my husband to go out and do a survey of the land to make sure it's something he really wanted to purchase and sell. So that was cool, like driving around rural Georgia, and finding crazy stuff out on these like tracts of land. But again, COVID kind of put a damper on that. And so when my job was like, hey, we want you to come back into the office, we kind of had to have a hard conversation of like, is that what we really want? Do we even want to continue to live in Georgia? If we go full time with this, we could do it from anywhere.
Yeah.
And so then we made the choice. I left. And we said, we'll try it. We have enough in savings to like figure it out for a little while. And if we have to go get real jobs again, we can do that,
Totally. No, that's interesting you say that. My boyfriend actually just quit his 9 to 5 at the beginning of this year, and it was like total golden handcuff situation where it's like great.
Oh, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Your audio. There you are. Okay. I got you back.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a timer that kicks me off Instagram if I've been on it for more than a half hour. Anyways, my boyfriend had a full-time job, golden handcuffs. He quit. He actually has an Etsy store now that he's been doing to like supplement his income, and him and his brother just moved out here, so they're gonna start working on a business together. So
And what is he doing?
he sells mock-ups for print on demand.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart. Yep. Mm-hmm.
They're a lot of I mean, have you used Midjourney at all?
No. Mm-mm.
It's AI, so they're all AI generated. And we showed his family when we visited New York, and they were like, "Oh, these photos are so good," and we're like, "Yeah, that's just AI."
Yeah.
Like, wait, what?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that you can do now, And I was gonna see, so Hillis time, Cheryl, do you ever have meet and greets in person? I don't. I live in Alabama, so I did meet a friend who I met through Instagram, and she happened to live in the same area, so we've met up a couple of times. But my husband and I did get an RV, so we have talked about being like, okay, well, this is where we're gonna be at this time if anyone wants to come hang out,
Yeah.
So maybe one day, And I would love to go to an in-person crochet meetup conference, like something at some point, or like a fiber festival. Have you ever gone to anything like that?
No, I really wanted to. It's crazy. I started looking into it this year, and then every weekend that they were doing it, I had plans out of town. I was like, oh my God, okay, so this isn't the year, maybe next year. But I don't do meetups in person that often. I have a yarn like fiber shop that I go to a lot, and they do like classes and fun. They have like yarn around the fire. I took a knitting class. I actually met 2 girls who I still keep in touch with, and we like hang out once a month. They both knit for the most part, and I crochet, but they don't shame me for it.
That's good.
Yeah.
And remind me where you live.
I live just outside Denver, Colorado.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's on our list to visit too. So
let me know if you come.
I know. Yeah, our goal is to start traveling once it cools off. I mean, we got the RV so we could travel with our dogs, and our dogs are just in hell right now because it's so hot. I mean, they're just inside like all the time, and we didn't buy a new RV. So the concern is like if we're driving around and like the AC goes out, we're in a lot of trouble, with them in the car with us. So we figure once it cools off enough for us to drive north enough to kind of beat the heat without worrying about having to stop when it's really hot. then we'll be able to do a lot more traveling then. And that's great because it's not peak season. You know, it's not, kids are back in school. You know,
So
people
true.
aren't taking summer vacations. So we're hoping that that'll make it a lot easier for us to, you know, do a pretty extensive travel time. And, you know, I don't know if we're going to take a break or not. That's the other question is like, do we bring the business on the road? Do we bring like part of the business on the road, or we just say to hell with it, get our Christmas orders out and go? You know,
Yeah, it's
I
a
don't
lot to
know yet.
consider. We thought about doing van life too. We've rented a couple. It seems like fun. I love having a home base, so like taking an
Yes.
RV out for a week, 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
over the summer, I think that would be amazing. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
probably couldn't live in it.
We have too much stuff.
Yeah,
We have way too much stuff that we
seriously.
love. Like we like our stuff, you
I love
know?
my house. Yeah, I don't really need to be on the road.
And remind me now, I don't know if we talked about this when you came on the first time. Are you doing this full time? Do you have another job? What does that look like for you?
Yeah. Yes, I do have a full-time job right now. I work in marketing for a
Nice.
healthcare company.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a writer. I do that. But I'd love to take it full time. I'm hoping I just monetize my YouTube channel, which is awesome.
Woo!
Feels
Yes.
like huge milestone because I didn't start it that long ago, but really hoping to be putting out more long form content. So it's kind of what we were talking about at the beginning. So with the YouTube channel and with Yay Crochet, I just am trying to find different ways that I can focus on like still enjoying my time with crochet and like making valuable content and staying connected without like totally burning myself out. Because I think there are a lot of ways to make money with crochet. You just kind of have to pick and choose what's best for you. Like some people do it with physical items, some people do it with patterns, blogs. A lot of people do all of them combined, but I think
Yes.
Yay Crochet is unique because we don't, as far as I know, there are no other like specifically crochet newsletters
Yeah.
like doing the same sort of thing.
Yes.
And for me, I'm like, I don't know if you feel the same way. Let me know. I feel like everything is so focused on knitting, and then it's like, and crochet, that's cool too.
Yes.
But I am trying to do the opposite, where I focus
Yes.
on crochet. You know that there's overlap with knitting. No disrespect to the knitters. You're
Mm-hmm.
amazing. But
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted something that, like, I thought that I would enjoy reading, and that I think other
Yes.
people would like in their inbox once a week.
That's awesome. Well, and I think too, you talked about the fact that you're in marketing, and I think that's amazing because I was in social media management when I was working full
Oh,
time. And so
no
it's
way.
like you have that crossover of, you know, the fact that you're already writing for your job, you're going to continue to get better and, you know, get that continued experience, you know, and it makes it easier to appreciate the fact that you're working a full-time job still because you know that it is going to be helpful
Yeah.
in what you want to do. And so I'd love to know from you how the how it started with this idea of starting the newsletter and where you're at now.
Yeah, totally. Well, this is what I do at work. When I say I'm a writer, like I write our newsletters at work. And I do like 4 of them a month. So I was like, why is nobody doing this for crochet?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to do it then. And there's actually a really cool platform that just came out called Beehive. That's what I use to do my newsletter. And it
Mhm.
makes everything so easy. Definitely check it out if you
I'm
haven't.
writing it down.
Yeah, they have a lot of really cool features. They have a free plan as well, but yeah, it just
Do you know
helps
what
bring it.
do you know what the subscriber limit is for them for the free plan?
So that's the cool thing. They don't have a subscriber limit.
Okay.
You don't have to pay per subscriber.
Uh-huh.
And they just raised their Series A funding, so like their first round of funding. And are you familiar with Morning Brew by any chance?
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's a huge newsletter company.
Writing
And
all this stuff down.
please, yeah, I love them. I read them every day. But 2 of the employees from this company left to start Beehive, so they like know they're a great resource for newsletters.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so definitely
Cool.
check it out. But like I said, I love writing and I love crochet, so it really helps me like bring these 2 things together. And this is like separate from Stellar Threads. Like yes, I run Stellar Threads and that's what I do, but this is really for the community. There's all kinds of tips and tricks in it. Actually, this one just went out 28 minutes ago for this week. And yeah, we're talking about the difference between US and UK crochet terms.
Hmm.
Um, Last week I did not a review, but like a preview of Hope's wool. If you follow Hope Macaulay, she
I
just
don't.
launched a wool. She's a big like northern designer. Her stuff is on celebrities all the time, and I'm like, how did you do this? But she launched her own fiber brand. And then this week also was about the difference between a hank, a skein,
Hmm.
cakes, balls, donuts. There's so many.
Yes.
So I made a little graphic for it. But yeah, it's been fun. I love it.
So how do people sign up for the newsletter
Yes,
if they want to?
if you would like to sign up for the newsletter, you can just DM me the word yay, and I'll send you a link to do it ASAP. You can also go to yaycrochet.beehive.com and you can read it before it's totally free, like no commitment, unsubscribe whenever you want. This is from me to you. It's a gift.
That's amazing.
Thanks. Yeah. I
So,
appreciate you having me on to talk about it.
of course. And where are you pulling your inspiration from for the newsletters? Do you have like a backlog now, like where you've written a whole book full of ideas, or is it just kind of spur of the moment?
I'd say it's a little bit of both. I'm definitely not a planner, like that much of a planner. Trying to get better at it, but yes, I have like a running list of ideas, as well as when I'm like scrolling through the week, I'll save stuff and be like, oh, this is so cool. Like one of the first ones that I did was about Namaste and crochet. She did a whole line of these amazing designs at LA Swim Week. I was like,
Oh,
this is
wow.
the shit that I want to
Yeah.
hear about. Like that is crazy. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I get inspiration from the community. Like, there's so many amazing things going on, and I think people need to know about
There
it.
are, and I'll tell you, I'll see if I can find it. I may have saved it. It's in the Dark Humor and Yarn Facebook group. I don't know if you're in that one. It's a big one. It's a big one. And I think that that's the one where I had asked a question um, about if people were to listen to a crochet podcast, what would they want to hear about? And I feel like the things that you're covering in the newsletter are the things that they were bringing up as things that they would want to hear about in a podcast. So I think you're hitting these topics like you talked about why there aren't crochet machines, which is a huge topic right now because crochet is just everywhere in fashion right now. It is back in fashion. So, I mean, I don't know if you've seen that, but like I'm literally scrolling and getting like the Burberry
Yes.
photos, the Gap fake crochet where it's like, this is crochet. And I'm like, it's really not.
It's
Like, thanks for trying.
it's probably from a warp knitting machine. Apparently, that's what that's called that they use to do all kinds of fun designs.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, but it's everywhere. I mean, I think every time I go on Facebook, I'm fed at least one fashion ad that has crochet in it now.
Yeah.
So I think it's a big
Okay,
topic.
don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that Miley Cyrus is just in British Vogue, and I swear she's wearing a green beaded crochet dress.
I'm not
I
sad.
I just saw it last night. I was like, shut up. I love Miley.
Well, I think too, the conversation about, there's a lot of people talking about transparency, ethically sourced, sustainably sourced. And when you get into that tricky area of crochet, even, I think the big one is Burberry right now, that they've got a whole collection that's like a crochet mini dress that looks a lot like your top that you're wearing, kind of a meshy
The
style
pink.
swim cover.
I've seen the pink one.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And it's probably what, $500-$600. I can't remember correctly, but I'm hundreds. Yes. And so the question is like, who is actually making the money? Like, is this sustainable fashion? I just saw a post by Lucy and Yak, that's a UK company that makes like the rompers,
Yes, I love
and they
that.
posted this like behind the scenes video where it's obviously not UK workers, and people, I guess, now I don't think they ever came out and said that their products were made in the UK, but they didn't not say they were. And so like a lot of people were really upset because they were like, we thought that we were supporting UK workers by supporting your brand. And so like this whole idea of this transparency of like, where are your items made? Are they actually being made by people who are making a living wage? Or, you know, I mean, it's just, I think it's a huge question. And I think crochet being so big in fashion right now is kind of getting even more people to think about that, I think.
Yeah, well, it's interesting too. I mean, so for example, we were talking about, were we talking about Darn Good Yarn earlier, or was that
Yes.
something else?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, we were. Um, you know, they are very big and very transparent on they employ women in India in
Mm-hmm.
textile work.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it's cheaper to produce things over there.
Yeah.
America and the UK is expensive. And like
Yes.
as a business, you have to be able to be profitable, make revenue if you want to keep paying people. So
Yeah.
I see where the line is blurred. Like at least they are transparent about it. I haven't seen that post by Lucy and Yak. And I know that they just added crochet items like to their
Oh, I
line
didn't
of
see that.
stuff. Okay,
See?
so I was wondering, yeah,
Everywhere.
I was wondering if that was what they had seen, or they put in the video, like people making it over there. But yeah, the transparency is important. I think that's what Shein was trying to do with this influencer trip. I don't know if you saw that.
No, but they said that it was giving them Sheen vibes. So I'm guessing that
Oh
that's,
gosh.
yeah, yeah.
That's not good. They're getting charged as an organized crime group right now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and so they're seeking, this is total tangent, we can end soon. They're seeking an IPO, so like an initial public offering, and you have to put everything in your books like publicly when that happens.
Uh-huh.
So they invited some influencers to a factory to tour it and report on the working conditions.
Oh yeah.
And clearly just like not real. And
Uh,
then they're getting sued by 3 artists who they're like, you literally copied my design.
I know that's a big problem with them. Now I've never shopped with Sheen. And it's never been like against them. It's just I've no I don't fast fashion anymore.
No, it's great. It's
I
great.
don't have room for, you know, I think college was my highest point of fast fashion. And,
I think it
you
is.
know, it was, yeah, buying. And I think you hadn't found your style, you know, you're trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
You can't spend a ton of money if you don't know what you really want. But at this point in my life, it's like I can pick and choose who I give my money to. And, you know, it's nice to know that things you know, being made in a way that you can feel good about, I guess.
Yeah.
We are not farming out our crochet hooks to a sweatshop and claiming we hand make them.
Thank you for the
that would
transparency.
that would be the captain. Thanks, honey, for joining in. There is I do have to say, and I will not name names, but there are a couple of hook makers that I question a little as to whether they make it sound like things are handmade and maybe aren't. So a lot of it's not just crochet items. Yeah, but I'm not going to start drama. I'll DM you. But I do think so Keisha Crochet says, yes, Shein has a lot of crochet items for cheap. And I do think, I think it's a big question. I think but you could probably write 1 million newsletters just on that topic at that point.
Right. There's no shortage of ideas. Also, if you have an idea or something you'd like to see in the newsletter, totally DM me. You can reply to any of them. I'll add it to my list. If you are a designer or you want to advertise your products as well, let me know. I'd love to get your stuff in front of everybody. That's for you as well, too.
Well, and I think that what you're doing is kind of what my goal with this, I guess, podcast, video cast, whatever it is, live show was to do something that I didn't see happening already.
Exactly.
Yep. You know, I felt like there was a void, you know, to just bring people on and see what they're working on and what they're doing and what they're passionate about and what their lives look like outside of just crocheting and how it's affected them. And, you know, I think that it opens the door for, you know, people to talk about what they're doing so that like something like this newsletter that you're working on that so many people are probably extremely interested in, you know, hearing more about crochet in so many different ways and different areas of you know, the fiber world in general. I think it's extremely important. I think, you know, I'm sitting here thinking about when I worked once, it was probably over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, that I worked with Made in America Yarn.
Oh, cool.
And they're like one of the last yarn mills in the US. You know what I mean? So like there's such a cool story, like a cool backstory with what they do. Like my husband and I were actually like reading through this newspaper article about them when they had sent me the yarn, just because the story was so neat. You know, this was a family-owned mill that people had come from another country to start it up here. And it's just, you know, that kind of stuff, those kind of stories that like, it would be so cool to have that brought to light, you know, in something that people can read regularly.
Yeah, I'm definitely adding that to my list. I
Yeah.
don't have a pen and paper. I'll remember though, I'm not even kidding you. I was just thinking, I'm like, why are all of these textile companies like overseas?
Mhm.
Like why is it so much more difficult or costly or whatever to do it in America? Because I would totally buy yarn if I knew it came from like a mill out here. I'd probably get here a lot quicker too.
Well, and I would love to know, this is one that you could look into because I've never looked into it, but I feel like a lot of the yarn manufacturers use the same mills. Because I don't know if you noticed that Premier Yarn came out with a parfait chunky pom-pom is what they called it. And then Hobie, and I think it was the opposite. I don't know who came out with it first, but Hobie came out with the Honey Bunny sprinkles. It's the same yarn.
Oh,
Like the exact same. And I'm not saying there's a problem with it. You know what I mean? But you know they had to have gotten it from the same place.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like a small, like a limited amount of manufacturers over there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're all using similar ones. But yeah, that definitely just makes it a little bit more difficult to get things going over here. I was talking to Caitlin from Originally Lovely about that because she sells yarn as well, which is totally amazing. By the way, you guys should check it out. And yeah, she was just talking about how she sources her yarn. And I was like, oh, why didn't you do it in America? And she's like, well, how much time do you have?
Yeah.
Research on it.
Well, and I think that's also, I still think there is quite a bit of secrecy and gatekeeping in a way when it comes to that, because there's so many, you know, small businesses that have gotten to the point where they could buy wholesale but don't know how, and there's no good way to figure that out. You know, like how do I find the people that are making this yarn, and how do I get it instead of having to go through the manufacturer or through Premier? Like, why can't I figure out how to source it the way they're sourcing so that I could make more of a living making my finished products, you know, because I would be able to keep more of my money. And there's just no good, you know, like for me, I know when, I don't know if it was before we were making hooks or while we were making hooks. I think we'd already started making hooks, but I still need to source crochet hooks that are pre-made for crochet kits. So I'll sell kits, and we don't put our hooks in them because our hooks are really expensive, and I don't want someone, you know, they're first learning how to crochet. They're not going to buy a $50 hook. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I source the ones that I'm using right now are like the Luxite, Susan Bates Luxite plastic white hooks that are like a 16 millimeter. And I actually source them from a shop that a lot of people, from what I've heard, also use, who make hooks, like hook handles. So if people pour resin handles, and it's Yarn Shop for You on Etsy. So
nice.
They sell a lot. Like if people are looking for just Susan Bates hooks, or they sell a lot of notions, but they sell them for really great prices. But that means they're also getting them cheaper, and I don't know where they're getting them from. Like she even told me, she told me, she didn't tell me who, but she said, you know, my manufacturer told me that they might not be making these anymore, just so you know, like, I want you to have a heads up. I'm seeking, you know, because she has a lot of people who buys from her the same way I do, for hooks for like teaching classes. So like if they teach classes, they bring the hooks to give to the classes. So there are a lot of different people out there who buy that kind of thing wholesale for that reason. But she obviously gets them somewhere too, if her manufacturer's saying that. And I was like, I don't feel like I can ask her who that is, because then it is that, well, no, like she needs to make money too. But there's that whole world of like people who have figured it out. You know what I mean? Who like
manufacturing is like one of those one of the best kept secrets in any product business. That's definitely a hurdle for other like business ideas that myself and my boyfriend have had. We're like, okay, this is the missing piece. Like, how do
Yeah.
we do this? And I really think you just have to call around and like talk to a bunch of people,
Yeah.
and eventually you'll find out where you're going. Or maybe it's some of these conventions. People are giving away
Yeah.
the trade secrets at the Fiber Festival.
Maybe.
All right.
I don't know.
I've loved chatting. I really have to get back to
Oh,
work. Thank
no,
you.
you're good. I didn't realize I usually run them for an hour, but you're good. Sign up for the newsletter. I'm going to sign up too, and we definitely can catch up and we can do this again if there's more topics that you want to chat about. Because it's easy to talk to you. So there we
Oh,
go.
likewise. Yeah, thank you so much. And anybody who's listening, like I mentioned before, if you just DM me the word yay, it'll send you a link to subscribe to the newsletter. So thank you so much
Awesome.
for having me on. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
You head back to work. I'm going to hang out and just do the closing up. So
Okay, awesome. I'll talk to you
bye.
later. Bye.
All right, guys, if you joined in late, this will be available to rewatch here on Instagram. So as soon as this is over, I will post it to my feed if you guys want to watch from the beginning. This will also be available on my YouTube channel. If you guys have not checked out my YouTube channel, all you have to do is go to youtube.com/pinksheepdesign. Please subscribe if you want to check out my, I do a lot of yarn reviews, tutorials. I have some free patterns over there that you guys can check out. And you can also watch all 50 plus episodes of these Pink Sheep and Friends. So if you want to meet some amazing people from the fiber community and see what they're up to, discover some new designers, some new amazing makers, and just grow your community in general, you can find all of them over there. And it's also listed as a podcast. So I think it just makes it easier if you just want to listen versus watching on YouTube. You can do that as well. So that's it for today. I hope you guys have an amazing Friday and a wonderful weekend. I will be back next Friday, and I can actually let you guys know a little sneak peek of who is going to be joining me. Let's see. Next Friday, I am going live with Flynn Knits, which I'm super excited because she and I have talked about getting together for a Pink Sheep and Friends for quite some time now, but both of us have just had conflicting schedules. So she's going to be coming on next Friday. Super excited. I'm really excited to talk about her new book too. I don't know if it's considered new anymore, but she came out with this amazing book about different hats that you can knit. So yeah, that'll be a really fun one. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day. Happy hooking.